I'm really, really, really excited about this episode of She Talks Business because we're talking to Tracy Litt and from the Lit Factor. And I mean, Lit is like there's no better last name for you than Lit because you are like lit. You are so full of joy and love and happiness. And so I'm excited to have you here. Sidebar conversation. I was talking to Justin Breen a couple of weeks ago. He wrote the book Epic Life.
Mm.
And his goal is to elevate consciousness for all of mankind. And so we started talking about the trust. And he was asking me about the trust and whether his wife should join the trust and yada, yada, yada. And I said, the one person your wife needs to meet in the trust, the one person who knows the most about consciousness is Tracy Litt. You need to meet her. So thank you for saying yes to being here, Tracy.
I'm so excited to be here, and it's so good to see your face.
Oh yeah, yours too. And for those of you who are listening, you need to watch the video of this because Tracy's wearing this gorgeous green top. I love it. It looks so
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you. It's like one of my favorite. Also, I love mushy things. I want everyone, all of us, get to feel good. And one of the ways I like to feel good is soft, silky things.
Yeah.
And preferably pants with no buttons and zippers is also a goal.
I like that too. I like that too. My dogs really like furry blankets, like
Mhm.
soft, soft, soft furry
Yeah.
blankets.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, my first question for you,
Okay.
I want to talk about woo. No
Mm.
surprise to you. And so I know you have very strong feelings about the word woo, given that you are a science and spirituality teacher. So, most people that listen to this podcast are entrepreneurs and business owners. And a lot of us entrepreneurs and business owners can get pretty wrapped up in the tactical, side of our brain, the left side of our brain in terms of our thinking. And so I would love for you to just talk to me about why why the word woo is a bit of a trigger word for you. And I'd love for you to introduce us to science and spirituality. Talk to me
Mm.
about that. I
This
feel like
is
I'm a
so.
student here. I'm so
Oh,
excited
let's
to learn
go.
from you.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is so rich. Okay. So I would love for woo and woo woo to come out of our vernacular because it creates separation from the truth of what you are and who you are. So when we think of woo woo, it's usually utilized in like a dismissive, skeptic, it's just woo woo. And then as we say that word or hear that word, it's very like, it's woo woo. It's too woo woo, or it's woo woo, which means not real, not measurable. And that couldn't be further from the truth because spirituality is science. So when we look at woo woo, if we continue to use it, then we're actually we're like creating a way for people to stay disconnected from the truth of what they are, the truth of what we're derived from, which I will go into in a minute, but I need us to just sit here for a second. When we use woo, it allows us to remain skeptical and separate from the truth that we are factually, scientifically, spiritual, energetic beings inside of this human experience. We are soul in a meat suit. We are spirit in a human form, right? And if we take woo woo away, it allows us to soften a little bit and go, wait a second. So then let me open myself here and go, all right, so then if spirituality is science, because the left part of our brain loves science, which is why I love teaching science and spirituality, because I can get you to believe the truth.
Hmm.
And it's so vital because when you recognize that you are energy, okay, this is where the truth comes in. So at one point, there was this big, big, big ball of fire. Some people call it the void, the all of the all. And that big, 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 big ball of fire, at one point in time, the Big Bang Theory occurred. And when the Big Bang Theory happened in the cosmos, the universe was born. And once the universe was born, that's when the speed of light occurred. And the reason why we actually see things in the third dimension tangibly is because we have that speed of light. It's basically, I'm going to make this concise because I can't fully teach it to you, but like in this context, um, The speed of light is what reflects the hologram of what is coming through on a higher level of frequency. Now, you, me, everyone listening, are derived of that same pure love, energy, oneness as the atoms and the sun and the moon and the stars and everything around us, because scientifically, non negotiably, everything is energy, period. It's just vibrating and oscillating at different speeds. So you are energy. You are made up of 99.99999% pure energy and only 0.0001% matter. If I took your hand and put it under a microscope and we looked in and we looked in and we looked in, we would just see waves inside of atoms. And to start to allow yourself to recognize the coupling, that's the energetic part. The spiritual part is there's something bigger than us at play here. Whatever you call it, I love it for you. You want to call it God, Jesus, source, greater intelligence, universe, whatever. But this is not just us going at it alone, pushing matter against matter, hustling, being all human all the time, making things harder than it needs to be. I'm going to take a pause. What's coming through for you? Where do we need to go next?
Well, I mean, I'm listening, I'm taking it all in. And so when you talk about the higher being and whatever that is,
Yeah.
how do how do you help people reconcile what's true for them, what's not true for someone else?
Mm.
Because I think sometimes there's like, first of all, I think woo can be a label.
Mm-hmm.
And it can, I agree with you, it can diminish what someone thinks, feels, behaves like, because you're putting a label on it. Oh, she's so woo, right? Versus, oh, she's so spiritual, she's so lighthearted, she's so intuitive. We're using, one blanket word.
Yeah.
Um, but then, on the other side of it, spirituality versus religion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk
Yeah,
about that?
I can. So religion without oppression is pure oneness, unity, love. It's magnificent. Where religion gets wonky is when man got involved.
The
And it
rules.
became, yeah, the rules, the oppression, the fact that a lot of religions have influenced us. And I work with women all the time on this. My church made me believe I had to earn my worth, right? The environment I was in, called whatever, church, temple, environment, because in order to keep us organized, this third dimensional world we live in operates under like a control matrix style, right? So how do you keep a lot of people under control? You feed them a lot of things that fosters a lot of fear and a
Mhm.
lot of I'm as good as what I do outside of me, or I need to be a good girl, right? So that I can be whole and worthy. And that part of it I do not like. And
Mhm.
I fight for the opposite of that a lot, because really when you just look at the beauty of religion and unity and love and compassion and community and the belief in something bigger,
Mhm.
the belief in something bigger. And the thing
Mhm.
that's important about that, beautiful, beautiful listeners, as you're hanging out with us, it's like, what happens for you when you go, okay, wait a second, I'll jump on your train. Okay, so there's something bigger than me. The universe or God or whatever you believe in fully has my back. Now, all of a sudden, it forces you for your shoulders to drop and for you to relax and for you to learn how to tolerate that state of peace and ease. And now you realize, oh my God, I'm not alone running this race that we know as leadership is woohoo. Nobody told you the truth of what that was going to be, right? And we're so conditioned and addicted to the hard and the strive and the push that for some of us, the introduction and the concept of a world where I can slow down, where I can breathe, where I can trust fall a bit is like, is she kidding? Right? So that's kind of where I think it's really beneficial to go with, because that's what prohibits us. Skepticism is self-protection. It's not real because it doesn't feel safe for whatever that thing is you're skeptical of, because something's rubbing up against your belief structure, which means it feels threatening, like at the level of your life.
Okay, so let's stop there for a second
Yeah.
because when I read your bio said that your own journey was basically from a single mother on food stamps to vice president of human resources to the CEO and founder of your seven-figure company. So when you were that person on food stamps,
Hmm.
were you skeptical? Like, what was your journey
Yeah.
from? Because I think, I've had those experiences in my life where I've said, God, universe, source, whoever's out there, I need help with this. And then all of a sudden I have help with it. And I've had those experiences in my life. But I also know that there are people that are in a really bad experience
Hmm.
and they don't believe. They
Hmm.
don't believe there's something better for them out there. They don't believe that just, lowering my shoulders and feeling like the universe has my back is going to pay my bills, is going to take over the fact that I don't know how I'm going to keep my home because mortgage rates have gone up. I don't know how I'm going to feed my family because inflation is out of control. So, can you talk to the people who are struggling with
Hmm.
how do what I'd love to hear is what led you down this path, because I think by you sharing your story of how you went from that to where you
Hmm.
are today can really kind of like light the path for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for this question. And I want to emphasize that it's not that the exhaling and the trusting gives you an immediate, like, oh, and the $100,000 fell from the sky and now I'm good, right? And it is a cumulative gain, because the more in your body you are and the more expanded, open, like dropped in, um, then the more energetically available you are, the higher your frequency is, like a radio. Do you remember when we used to have old
Hmm.
school radios and we turn the dial and then you get like a lot of fuzz and you're like, oh, and then you go and you get a clear channel, right? Your frequency then creates opportunity. So I just want to say that
Hmm.
now. Uh, my journey was one from being completely asleep to completely awake. And the biggest recognition I had, right? How did I end up a single mother with an 8-month-old daughter on food stamps? Because I was a complete victim of my life. I was abdicating my power. I was trying to squeeze round holes in square pegs. Even the choice to be in relationship with my daughter's father was such a, like, I mean, when I red flags were smacking me in the face, not even just being waved, right? Everyone in my life, when, what do you do? Like, hello, are you even here? And what that showed me, because I was willing to be more open, started to work on myself a little, not like heavily in the beginning, just like, what's behind this curtain? What's behind this curtain? I realized how unworthy I perceived I was, like deeply unworthy. I didn't go to college because I didn't think I was smart enough. I sabotaged my entire, we'll call it upper teen through young adult time in my life, because I was living in an operating system and a program that told me I wasn't worthy and I wasn't smart enough. And that's what drove me into that relationship and tolerating that in the first place. And it was one particular moment where I was crying on the floor of my garage. Taylor was 8 months old, crying in her crib. And it was, if you are have had a maternal experience, you get this, or any parental experience, that feeling like I just need her to stop crying and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I wanted to move as far away from hearing her as possible. So I went into the garage, fell to my knees, hysterically crying, like movie-esque, in a fetal position, snot bubble, hyperventilating, purging, crying. And it was the first time that I had a sense of something bigger than me, because I wasn't this person by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and the sense of what I heard was, you can either continue to be a victim of your life, or you can get up and create something completely different for you and that little girl. And that's what I started to do. And that's been the process, listening, letting that higher self version of me guide, listening more, guiding more, leaning
How
into risk. Yeah.
how do you listen to your voice and not know that you're not just making it up? 'Cause there's
Yes.
listening and there's just like listening. Oh, did
Yeah.
something else say that to me or did I say that to me?
Ah, I love that. I love that. So that's such a great question too. It's about your ability to be connected to your body because it's not coming via the mind,
Mm.
right? It's
Mm.
not coming via the mind ever. One of the things we teach in practical application is how to only use the mind as the beautiful tool and mechanism that it is. You're not your mind. You're the being who has a mind. That is a phenomenal, phenomenal tool that will work for you when you know how to work it. And then when you become more in connection with your body and reliant upon its communication and more connected to that thing that's bigger than you, I'm going to, for the sake of our conversation, I'm going to call it universe because that's how I call it, but you insert what feels good. So I'm living by the connection to my body and noticing when it tightens, noticing when it loosens, noticing how it's communicating to me, what it's asking for. And then I'm bypassing my mind completely and I'm hanging out up here with the thing that's bigger than me that can do so much more for me than I can ever do. Right? Like my adaptation was control. That's how I kept myself safe my whole life. I was living with a belief structure that said, the more I can control it, the more loved I'll be. Watch me, look, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. And what I've learned through like indisputable evidence is the more I let go, the more I get.
How do you let go when you're down and out?
Great question. The first thing, I'm gonna bring this through in a truly like formulaic step-by-step way. The first thing is feel what needs to be felt. Because when you are down and out in the way I'm perceiving that, there's so much unprocessed emotion. No one is feeling their feelings enough. It's one of my greatest missions, Lisa. It's one of my greatest missions. We need to feel, and we need to feel it all till it's done being felt. And that's where the magic happens. So the first thing is, right, because when we're down and out, our mind drives thoughts like, oh my God, this is like this forever. It's never going to change for me. Success is for other people. Maybe I'm listening to her, but this is impossible, right? Because, wait for it, the body informs the mind. The mind doesn't inform the body. 80% of your thought process is coming from the state of your body. For years, we thought it was a top-down process. But now we know, based on science, because the research in human growth and development and spirituality is like, we're learning something new all the time. And then it debunks like, right? It's like, listen, remember the years where it'd be commercials for Wonder Bread and everyone's eating white bread? You would never. Now it's multigrain or gluten-free or wraps. Like we learn things. We have to progress. We have to progress. So understanding that the body informs the mind, it's really important first to process in the body. And even if you're feeling that down and out way, get mad about it. Cool. I'll take anger over powerlessness any day of the week because it's higher on the energetic scale. Right? So let yourself use that. What does feeling it look like? Shaking your body out, screaming, taking a pillow and punching it a few times. Dancing, putting headphones on and an eye mask so that you don't judge yourself and just dance like nobody is watching. Literally nobody's watching, but there's something magical about when you can't even see yourself because you fully go within. And as soon as you play in the body first, the rest of what I'm going to say becomes possible. If you attempt to help yourself without release, body processing, it's not going to work. Or it's going to be like a very false hit, like, oh, okay, but I read an affirmation, like I feel better. It's not that affirmations are bad. I believe that everything has its place, but some things are incomplete and we just need to add those components that bring it to completion. Mm-hmm. So once we feel what needs to be felt, however you perceive what I'm saying, Then we move into present moment gratitude. You're alive. You're breathing. What a gift that is. You're a miracle. Scientifically speaking, you're 1 in 400 trillion. Like the odds of Lisa being Lisa and Tracy being Tracy and insert your name here being you, you are a walking miracle. Conception is not an easy process. You are here for a reason. And because we've already cleared some stuff out of your body, you're available to hear this. And I want you to move into present moment, like, wait a minute. And then I want you to notice when your mind tries to come in and fight for your previous limitation. But no, stop it. You want to fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. And thus is the trajectory of your life. You are not powerless. You need to take radical personal responsibility.
I
Right?
so believe that.
Right? So now we're in this beautiful present moment, which is all there is. And you're gracious and you're like, okay, wait a minute. Look at the bird flying. That's cool. Look at the airplane flying overhead. Like, find some awe. I do that all the time. Every time a plane, to this day, I'm always like, it's amazing. Like, how is that happening? Hundreds of people in tons of weight of metal flying all over the world. And then all of a sudden this happens and you just sort of feel like, oh my God. And now it's like your state of being shifted. And from there, you can start to make new conscious choices, right? You can check in with what's one new choice I can make right now that's going to help me get to where I want to be.
It's really interesting that, our minds are very powerful. I guess it was 7 years ago, one of our dogs died, and I had a really, really hard time with it. And I remember at the time, Alan Weiss said to me, grieve, but don't make yourself suffer. And that was really helpful for me because I realized that I was catastrophizing what had happened, and I was running stories in my mind that were really upsetting to me. And I was, shitting all over myself and guilting and all this stuff. And when our other dog passed away 2 weeks ago, Eddie, my grieving for him was so much easier because I remembered that I actually can control my mind. I can control whether I think happy thoughts about him or whether I think about everything that I should have done differently. And I think a lot of people don't believe that they have the power to control their thinking. So I know you're talking about your body, but like they are connected. And
Oh, they're
so,
completely connected. So a couple of things I want to jump in here on. May I?
yeah.
Okay. Uh, that's such a beautiful thing he said to you.
Mhm.
Such a beautiful, the grief is grief. And I have experienced a lot of it. I lost my mother at 24. I lost all of my grandparents within 3 years after that. Grieving, my thought was going to be the relationship of my life, like all these things, right?
Yeah.
Grief is such a stunningly beautiful emotion. I find it to be one of the most raw, real human experiences. And the ability, this leads into what you're saying about the mind, the ability for you to go, wait a minute, I can think differently, is because you allowed yourself to feel what needed to be felt, which was grief. When we attempt to not feel, right, bypass like the full on, and even for your first dog that you referenced passing, like even when what was I know Eddie was your most recent dog.
Gretchen was her name.
Gretchen. So when Gretchen comes up in a picture in your mind's eye going, oh my God, I'm crying. Okay, great. There's no statute of limitations on grief. My mother is gone 23 years. And some days I cry like it was yesterday. And other days I don't at all. Right. So it's being able to feel that is one of the things that opens our ability to then become intentional thinkers and not allow our minds to run away from us. The mind and body are one. We've all been brought up to think that the mind and body are not connected. We're neck uppers. We overanalyze, we overthink, we overdo. We don't pay attention to our bodies. We get pings and dings and we ignore it. So from a teaching standpoint, here's where we get to start. You are not your mind. Write it down. You are not your mind. You are not your mind. You are not your mind. You're the being with a mind. We don't believe any thoughts our mind automatically gives us, because any thought that your mind automatically populates comes from fear, ego, and past experience. None of that level of mind is going to support you in feeling better, growing your business, having the uncomfortable conversation, taking the vacation and not checking your phone, right? Your mind and body are not like, yes, queen, go live your best life. That's not how our wiring works, because we're wired for survival.
Mhm.
So we go, okay, I'm not my mind. All right, great. I'm going to stop believing every thought I think. Then what do? We get to become intentional thinkers, because we ultimately get to leverage neuroplasticity, which is our ability for our brain to rewire itself until the day we die, which is also riveting, relatively new information.
Mhm.
Because years ago it was, oh, you turned 25. Congratulations. You are who you are. Your brain
Yeah,
is
your
fixed.
brain is done.
Right, exactly. So, this is what it's a beautiful choice to commit to your own intentional evolution with an ing at the end, right? So meaning I am committed to being a person who's always evolving.
Mhm.
And in that, it means I'm healing, it means I'm learning, it means I'm growing, it means I'm expanding. And that, at the deepest level, is our purpose. Right? Our
Mhm.
purpose, from where I sit, is not our businesses. It's not our impact. It's not our service. It's not our calling. Those are passions. Those are callings. Those are amazing. Build businesses around them, make hobbies. But your purpose as a spiritual, energetic being having human experience is to come inside and start to do your own intentional evolution work.
Okay. I have more questions.
Yes, let's go.
Um, and this kind of aligns with what we've talked about, but there's a corporate expression that I'm very familiar with, and you may be from your HR background. Past performance predicts future performance. And yet you say who you've been is no indication of who you are capable of becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we have been conditioned to believe that past performance predicts future performance. I believe that at times. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way you behaved in the past is likely the way you're going to behave in the future,
Yeah,
and I think that is a truth
absolutely.
for most people.
This is so good. So I would love for that to never be a truth again for anyone.
Hmm.
And the requirement is that you're growing. So, yes, past performance will create future performance, and it will be predictable if someone is unwilling to evolve and work on themselves. Because when we're in that lens, we are in a default lens. We are not awake. We are not interested in paying attention to non-judgmentally observing ourselves. We're not interested in learning, well, why am I avoiding that uncomfortable conversation in this meeting? What is it? What is that weird thing my body does every single time my boss calls me into their office, and then I go run down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, what did I do? Am I getting fired? Should I pack my things now? Like, whoa, right? So my big plea is you can't afford not to work on yourself, because you're going to groundhog day the rest of your life. And you know that trajectory, you're living in it.
Hmm.
So let's like see a new movie, and that requires you to shift. So we can hold both, that contrast of both your statement that you presented and the statement that I said about who you've been, a zero indication of who you're becoming, which is also the truth from an actual sustainable transformation standpoint. Both are true.
And your decision on growth is
Is
the
the switch,
right.
because also true is not truth. Very few things are universally truth, like gravity. The
Hmm.
sun rises and the sun sets. These are indisputable universal truths. What we operate under are things that are true for us, which is completely perspective,
Hmm.
right? So then the question becomes, are you interested in continuing to repeat who you've been? Or
Right.
are you really, really ready to step into who you're capable of becoming and go through the glorious, uncomfortable, and most worthy journey of your life in moving through that process. Because the other piece of this that's important to the context of your question, especially as we look at corporations, teams, leadership, you will only perform as fast as you grow yourself. You will only generate new opportunities. You will only become a better leader
Mhm.
because you've understood your trauma responses and you understand you're in co-regulation with your team and you're wanting them to do XYZ, but you keep showing up in this dysregulated version of yourself. It's unfair. It's unfair. So we have to make that choice.
Mhm. I love that. Are you interested in repeating who you've been?
Yeah.
Because I just see so many people in the world that are stuck in sameness. They're I am s I mean, you should see the books that I have in my office. Like, I am such a sponge for learning new things.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time a friend of mine said to me, "You've changed." And I was like, "Thank God."
I love that answer, right? Yay!
Yeah, I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year
Yeah.
ago, and I hope I
Yeah.
continue to change because
Yes.
isn't that what life is about? Like our
Exactly.
own evolution of becoming more of who we are and more comfortable, with ourselves, more comfortable in our bodies. So
Yeah.
this is really great.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question for you. In today's world, we see more people who say they have anxiety, people who are distracted by social media, text messages, all the notifications that come across their phones, their computers, and people who say they're burned out
Mm-hmm.
than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
How can a practice of spirituality help those people? And
Mm.
I'm not, when I say those people, what I mean by that is, you know, I will tell you, I just turned 54 last month, and I have been in a leadership role now for 25 years. I have been in at least a manager, senior manager, business owner role supporting a team of people for 25 years.
It's amazing.
And I have never seen so many people with anxiety as I have in the last few years of my life. I've never heard so many people talk about being depressed. I've never heard so many people talk about being burnt out. And I look back on my life and I think about, gosh, when I was 19, I was working in retail. I was working 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. We did slams, which were open to closes at
Mm.
least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. Like we worked physically hard, and you didn't hear people talk about things like anxiety and burnout and depression. At
Mm.
least I didn't hear it back then. So
Mm.
I feel like something has changed. I think technology, computers, social media, our addiction to the scroll, those things are affecting us. But I'm curious from your perspective, if someone is listening right now, because I'm seeing people also post stuff online right now about um, seasonal effectiveness disorder and how the sun has finally come out and it's starting to
Mm.
warm up in certain parts of the world. And so they're feeling better. So I know that there are people who listen that can relate to feeling anxiety, feeling depression, feeling burnt out,
Mm.
not knowing how to overcome distractions. So, how does what you talk about help those
Mm.
people get more control back of their life and more fulfillment?
Yeah. Uh, it's the way. I want to start by saying that it's the way. And what is the way? It's not only spirituality, it's a combination of somatics and spirituality, which is part of the work that we do. So, somatics is body work, the soma is the body, right? So, the one component, because the initial question when you were talking about it is, how does spirituality help? So, let's start with that piece. Spirituality helps because When you are experiencing anxiety, burnout, and things of the like, depression, your mind goes into a state of isolation. It goes into thoughts like, this is only me. How long can I take this? I'm so exhausted. What's it all for? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we have a void in our spiritual connection, and I want to be clear, I am not talking about religion right now at all, our spiritual connection and the thing that is bigger than us, right? The fact that like something created all of this and it wasn't humans. Um, when we're void of that spirituality, the isolation deepens because we feel like we're pushed, like we're already feeling like we're on an island, and then it feels like someone just pushed the island out into the middle of nowhere and you can't see any land. And that's not the truth. The truth is this greater faith in something bigger than you is right there all the time, waiting for you to look up and relate to it,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for you to realize it's not just me. I'm not isolated. Hold on. My mind is running me into the ground. Let me back up. Oh, she said I'm not my mind. Okay, hold on a second. So I don't have to go down that rabbit hole every single time it's offered to me. And then what happens to me? And I go, wait a minute, I am part of oneness. The truth is oneness, everyone. The truth is shared humanity, common humanity. You are never, ever, ever going through anything alone. Never. I have served thousands of women globally. I have held hundreds of women at a time and posed questions, and their answers are the same. Because there's only so many themes. You are, no matter what your upbringing is, where you are right now, the state of you are in when you are listening to this conversation, I promise you, I'll bet you anything, there are thousands of others feeling exactly how you're feeling. And I want you to go, oh, good. Because as soon as we move from isolation to shared humanity, we're like, oh, okay. And it lightens it a little bit. And spirituality helps us do that because it tells you you're not on your own. The real, Lisa, the biggest problem we actually all have is that we're too human too often. We just forget there's so much more available to help us, love us, and guide us. And the second piece to this is the soma, the body. Two main parts of it: process that unprocessed emotion, become really, really good and safe feeling your feelings until they're done being felt, and work with your nervous system, which naturally happens when we feel, but even more so, like really breathing intentionally, grounding, tapping. There's beautiful methods here because typically the burnout, the anxiety, the depression is a manifestation of a ton of unprocessed emotion. And when we have unprocessed emotion, I want to give you this visual of like all this unprocessed emotion. And for most of us, it's like 30, 40, 50, 60 years of it, because like this current generation is getting a little bit of a different talk track around feeling. But where we were brought up and the generation before us, not a chance. That
Mm-hmm.
was don't feel your feelings, be seen, not heard, suck it up, cry in the closet. Why are you crying? So it really did a number on us. So when we can come in and realize all of that unprocessed emotion, imagine it like a beach ball and we're in a swimming pool and you are trying so hard, all of your energy, keeping that beach ball underneath the water. You know that game when you were little and you tried to keep the ball and you have to use all your energy and it's wobbling you and it's and you can't and you can't, and at some point you just have to let it pop up. So all of that unprocessed emotion actually perpetuate and exacerbates the anxiety and the depression because you're not feeling what's asking to be felt.
Mm-hmm. So I have a follow-up question on that
Mm-hmm.
because I recently heard someone describe themselves as feeling numb. And another person said, I can relate to that. Just feel like I don't even feel my feelings anymore. So if someone is listening and we have shared humanity, so
Yeah,
there's thousands of people feeling that way,
so many.
then how do you help somebody who is feeling like they can't feel anymore feel again?
Yeah, it's one of our favorite things.
Because that to me, if was feeling that way, I can imagine the thought of working with somebody like you would be
Mhm.
terrifying.
Totally. And this is the
So,
great, that's a good thing.
yeah.
It's a
So
good thing.
It's a no, but it's not a good thing in the sense that if they're terrified, they're not going to come to you, right? So there's got to, what I want to know is like, how
Mm.
can they feel safe in uncovering their feelings again?
Yeah. Okay. So let me go all these places. So, first of all, the reason why I say it's a good thing and I stand by that is because in the work we do, we
Mhm,
teach you everything about safety at the level of your nervous system, your biology, how your fear actually operates. It's the biggest game changer for people because the the fear you feel, right, when you haven't been feeling and you're feeling numb,
mhm.
the fear that you experience listening to this conversation is actually telling you, oh, this is good, this is the direction we need to go, because your fear response shows up when you're being confronted or invited into something unknown or unfamiliar. And what I represent every time I get to engage anywhere is, oh, you're going to transform, you're going to become different, you're going to feel better, you are going to feel your feelings, whatever that is. And to your mind and body, that's a big fat no,
Mhm.
because it doesn't have evidence that you've done it and lived to tell the tale. So I always respond, it's good, it's great, it's awesome, because one of the things we get to do is realize the difference between fear and danger at the level of the biology, and then how to use fear, because I've helped you make it's not danger. You're not going to die. Okay. You're not. It's not
Right.
a shark in the water. It's not a dark alley with somebody scary standing at the end of it. This is natural growth oriented, uncomfortable fear response. So we start to use that as a blueprint for your growth edges. So the growth edge is, okay, I'm going to allow myself to come back into my body and feel, because when we're numb, we are either completely exhausted, like burnout, adrenal fatigue, like, and I'm done with this, right? In
Mhm.
which case there's also a hormonal, I don't do the hormonal component, but I understand the holisticness of what needs to happen. So there's lots of different people to engage with. There could be a hormonal engagement component of this. And most importantly, the ability to feel safe in your body again, because so many of us disconnected and disassociated for so long out of protection, because this thing, it's so smart, it loves us so much, and it's like, oh, you felt that, I don't want you to feel that ever again, shut it down. Oh, that was extreme pain, nope, nope, we're just going to cut you off right there, shut it down. And then we move through life muted,
Mhm.
but it was all love, because your system is actively there
Protecting you.
going to protect. That's why we have to, I dislike the concept self sabotage. It's not sabotage, it's protection. You're working with a system that is loving you and is misguided because it thinks that everything's going to kill you. So you have to be the director of the show and give your system the safety it needs to move into the unknown and the unfamiliar and acclimate and heal and grow.
All right. I have one more question. We are over
Yes.
time, but I have one
Okay.
more question for you.
Okay.
For people who are listening to this and they're like, I'm not sure. They're like, this sounds a little woo to me. What are like three things that you would recommend they do to start? I mean, one of the things that I would say is they should buy a copy of your book,
Hmm.
Worthy Human. What
Yes.
else? What are like, just give me a couple of tactical things that somebody
Okay.
listening to this is like, okay, maybe I'm ready to feel the feelings. Maybe I'm ready to, tap into, spirituality or source or whatever. Like, what are like
Amazing.
just give me two or three tactical things that somebody can do.
Cool. Buy Worthy Human. Start setting alarms on your phone. I'll be extra ginger with you. I'll only say 5 times a day. Once you come in and you become a student of mine, you're setting alarms top of the hour every hour, and it's amazing. But set 5 alarms on your phone to a nice alarm, something like yummy and like light, not alerting. And when the alarms go off, put your hand on your heart, put your other hand on your belly, and breathe deeply for a little while. 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Close your eyes. Leave the stimuli of the outside world behind and just breathe. Okay, so Worthy
Okay.
Human, breathing alarms, and taking breaths. I'm going to give 2 more.
Okay.
Start to talk to your body. We have the ability to relate to everything around us, but we don't. And what you relate to and pay attention to loves you back when you give it that love, right? Money, relationships, whatever that is. So let's do that with our body. So whether it's when you're taking a breathing break or just in the morning, like when you wake up, lay in bed for just 10 more seconds. Good morning, body. Hi, body. Thank you. Thank you for holding me. Thank you for being with me. I'm coming back to you. Magic will move from those things. And then the last thing is inside the School of Becoming, we have a really, really great assessment. It's a free assessment. It's 11 questions. It's super fun to take. And the results that you get give you so much knowledge on everything we just talked about, spirituality and science and the body. So that'll be like a really great guide. And we give you curated library assets to go read or watch or listen to based on your assessment results.
Okay. So I can put the link to the assessment in the
Yes,
show notes. All
definitely.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me?
Hmm. How are you feeling in your body right now throughout this conversation?
Um, okay. Yeah, okay. Open.
Okay.
Yeah, open, curious. Yeah.
Good. Good. I'll take curious any day of the week. That's all we need to be. And I think
Yeah.
it's a beautiful place. Like, what are you sensing and feeling right now?
Mm. Emotion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How does it feel to just sit with that and recognize it?
Um, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's just more, listening to you talk makes me um, just think about creating space to do some of the things that you've talked about. And just to, I think there are so many habits that we have in our life that are more, uh, I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Like, there's so many habits that we have that are not connected to our body and mind. They're just things that we do every day without thinking about it. And it's about creating the space for some new habits that are a little more nurturing and open and, yeah, just, leaning into some of the things that you've talked about.
It's so beautiful. And I'm so honored that it's resonating with you in the way it is, right? And the body doesn't lie.
Hmm.
Emotion is energy in motion. It's saying, yeah, there's stuff in here, Lisa. Like, let's feel it, let's allow it. And what you just said is really profound. We have all of these habits that affirm the current identity of who we are, which keep us in the same emotional addictions, which keep us in the same behaviors and the same outcomes.
Hmm.
When we shift a couple habits and we start choosing habits that are promotional and supportive of who we're capable of becoming, things start to change.
Hmm. Yeah,
Incredible.
absolutely. And just like exercise,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Exactly.
something you have to do on a regular basis if you really want to shift and see changes happen. And so I
Exactly.
love your idea of setting the alarm. I love the idea of even, um, creating an alarm or a reminder for yourself to, you know, spend time feeling your feelings or journal about how you're feeling or, um, for me, like I said to you, I can't tell you how many times I have said, God, universe, source, I need help with this, but then I don't do it very often. I only do it when I really, really, really need help with something. So
Mm.
why not make that a practice all the time? Because maybe it would actually make things easier, right?
Not even maybe. I guarantee
Yeah.
you, you will keep me posted. I
Yeah.
guarantee you. When you relate to it, it relates to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Tracy Litt,
Yeah.
for your generosity and your time and for being here. This was wonderful. And I will be sure to put all of your social media links and your website link and the link for the assessment and your book and all of that into our show notes so that people can access all of the information. And for those of you listening, thank you for listening. This is a little bit of a departure in terms of what we normally talk about on this show. But I have to tell you, I've known Tracy for a couple of years now through Ali Brown's network, and there's just something extra special about her. And I really wanted to share all of that with you. So I hope you I hope you felt that coming through today when you listened to this conversation. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the show again next week.
Thank you.